If you look at a poster from Saul Bass and you like the graphic quality of it and the way that he renders images in a very simplistic form, and you go out and do something that's very graphic and renders something in a very simplistic form, I don't believe you're turning yourself into the authorities. I recently spoke to a professor who's like the department chair of the master's program in one of this prestigious design schools. And he's like, I did the deep dive. AI is not doing anything different than what humans do. It's just called looking. And you look and then you make it your own. And a lot of people, I don't think they understand this. The way that AI is trained on copyrighted images is before it processes or looks at the image, it's been diffused. That's why it's called stable diffusion. It blurs the image and then it kind of starts to squint its eyes, if you will, and makes out certain patterns. And in the very beginning, eyes and hands and certain parts look really weird because they're still learning, like a child seeing the world for the first time. A lot of people who don't understand how AI works, it literally thinks it lifts a part of something and puts it into the other thing like you would a photo bash, right? So it's not actually using the pixels, it's an approximation, it's understanding of it. And maybe I have this wrong, but if humans look at work, and we're all looking at work all the time, quite literally, you're looking for inspiration and you're processing lots of things and you're doing the deep look, and then you go back and you create some things. What are you looking for? And why would you look at it if not in some way to borrow elements, assets, or that spark? And because you don't know how to explain your process and you can do it fairly slowly, you forgive yourself. You give yourself a pass that it's not copying, but you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's two kinds of copyright infringement that really bother me. One is the blatant lifting of assets and images that don't belong to you and you use without paying for nor crediting the person who did it. And that kind of copying should come at a heavy cost. But if you look at a poster from Saul Bass and you like the graphic quality of it and the way that he renders images in a very simplistic form, and you go out and do something that's very graphic and renders something in a very simplistic form, I don't believe you're turning yourself into the authorities. If you use colors inspired by somebody, you're not turning yourself in. Nobody is. But because what's happening is non-artists, non-quote unquote creative people are using tools like this and doing work at scale that rival your technical skill, it's a very threatening gesture, and I can see why people are really concerned. But this is not for me to decide. It'll be for the courts to figure out. The word of caution I would throw out to everybody is don't wait for the courts to figure this out. You need to be playing with the tools, integrating some of these things into your workflow, and you draw the line for yourself, but don't artificially handicap yourself. It's like to say you want to do photo retouching, but you're not going to use any software to do it. You don't want to use Photoshop, you don't want to use Illustrator, you don't want to use any 3D image making program because you want to do it the old way. You want to build real models in real life and you want to light things, and that's how people used to do it. You're putting yourself at a distinct disadvantage. That's my take on it. Sho, what's yours?
Beautifully said, Chris. That's absolutely my take. How you described how the AI actually thinks through this imagery, people that actually use it kind of understand that it reflects our process too. And then by utilizing the tool, we actually do realize, oh, I am getting better. This is a craft like anything else. My expertise, my knowledge does translate. So I'm really excited to hear that you kind of have a similar view on how to approach this.